We are going to go back to Henry Ekine, with whom we had our previous conversation regarding the truce being brokered by the president between the minister of the FCT and, of course, the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara. Henry Ekine, I hope we have you this time. Are you back with us? Unfortunately, I don't think we have Henry back, but let's move on now to judicial matters. In a sweeping disciplinary move, the National Judicial Council has ordered the compulsory retirement of 10 judges from the Imo State Judiciary. 9 of the affected judges, 5 from the High Court and 4 from the Customary Court of Appeal, were found guilty of falsifying their dates of birth in a bid to unlawfully extend their time on the bench. The 10th judge, Justice T.N. Nzeukwu, was shown the door for sidestepping judicial protocol to get sworn in as acting chief judge, a clear breach of constitutional procedure. These decisions were taken at the Council's 109th meeting, chaired by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, a firm message that the NJC is not backing down from its stance on integrity and accountability in the nation's judiciary. Still on this now, to help make sense, we are joined by legal practitioner Elvis Asia. Elvis, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, if you can hear me, I'm going to go right ahead and ask, what is the constitutional or...
Thank you for joining me.
Grand. So I was asking what the constitutional or statutory basis for the NJC's authority to recommend or enforce the compulsory retirement of state judges is.
The NJC has the constitutional mandate to, apart from recommending judges for appointment, also discipline judges. And the NJC can discipline judges for misconduct in the course of the performance and exercise of their roles as judges. That's what gives the NJC the powers to discipline judges who may have falsified their age in order to extend their tenure at the bench. What that simply means is that if you falsify your age, a judge should be somebody of, you should have the highest standards of honesty and all of that. So when you descend to the arena of forging documents in order to give a false impression about your age with a view to extending your tenure, that counts. That affects your ability to be the kind of judicial officer that is envisaged. And as such, the NJC has the constitutional authority to look into issues like that could undermine the integrity of the judiciary.
So, Elvis, this is the judiciary we're talking about here. So due process must come in, at least they must follow it. So the question is, what due process does the NJC have to follow in its investigation and decision-making concerning the affected judges? And did they follow it in this regard, in this instance?
Well, I mean, you know that this is not the first time the NJC is doing this. In fact, as recent as a few months ago, a judge from, again, Imo State was also retired on the basis of falsification of age. And I'm very sure that before the NJC would come to that conclusion, they would have, of course, given the judges fair hearing in terms of hearing from them and then looking at the documents that are available. Such a decision will not just be made because somebody wants to make it. It must have been made on hard evidence, and it must have been made after the judges were given the opportunity to make representation to the NJC. So I want to believe that the process would have been followed before they come up with this decision.
But what about arbitrary discipline? What procedural safeguards do you suggest must be put in place to protect judicial officers from arbitrary disciplinary actions by the NJC?
Well, I mean, I don't think the NJC would engage itself in arbitrary disciplinary actions. Like I said, there are clear procedures and processes that the NJC must follow before coming to a decision with respect to whether or not a particular judge has flouted his oath or has committed misconduct in line of duty.
Elvis, I just wanted to say that the way you put it seems like as if the NJC itself is flawless, but here we are talking about matters within the NJC that have gone awry because they didn't follow due process. Falsifying of age by judges is actually still on the table of the NJC regarding their credibility or integrity. So if you get me, that's why I'm asking.
I'm not saying at all. There's no flawless organization or institution. But the point I'm making is that the NJC adds that you have the Constitution that sets them up, that defines the extent of the powers of the NJC, and then of course you have the internal processes and procedures that you have to follow. And of course, don't forget that the NJC is made up of different people, judges, lawyers, representatives of the NBA, and all of these various people, lawyers that makes up the NJC would have had to make input in the process. So of course, if any judge feels that the process was not followed, of course the procedure is not available, always available for anybody to set aside any action that was taken in gross violation or breach of either the Constitution, the fair hearing provisions of the Constitution, and or any arbitrary action taken by the NJC or anybody for that matter. So if the judges feel it's an arbitrary decision, they know what steps to take. But I can assure you that before the NJC will come to this kind of decision, it would have been given a very dispassionate consideration, and it will not be taken lightly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, dispassionate indeed. We do hope that these matters are handled. So thank you very much, Elvis, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.